Three, two, one, action.
Well, let me tell you something, brother.
Hey Andy, how you doing, buddy?
How's it going?
All good, all good. How's everything
Sorry
going?
about that. Sorry about that. Thank you.
Nah, it's okay, man. Happens.
Yeah.
How's everything been? How's the
Pretty good. Pretty good.
how was the
Yeah.
award run?
It was good. I mean, didn't win anything, but it's always nice to be nominated.
Yeah.
Always a nice experience. Um, yeah, it was cool. Yeah, that movie was a wild experience to make. So,
That one was as a writer, or was that for cinematography for that one?
cinematography.
Cinematography.
Yeah, I'd shot it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Deathstalker is a remake of like the 80s sword and sorcery film of the same name.
Hmm. Nice.
Uh, yeah. It was a lot of fun, really hard to do. And I wasn't expecting to be nominated at all, so it was cool to have some nomination.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
like I think I said to you in the message, it's always like the accolade of, or the recognition, sorry, should I say? It's always nice, isn't
exactly. Yeah,
it?
yeah.
And
Recognized by Canadian peers.
and that was a feature film, right?
Yep,
Yeah.
yep.
So I imagine it's like the last year or so has been that's occupied your time shooting it, and then now obviously even the post.
We actually shot it in 2024.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
And
Oh, wow.
yeah, and then it came out last year at Locarno in Switzerland.
Hmm.
So I went to Switzerland to for the premiere, which was, a really fun time. I'd never been there before.
Oh, nice.
Uh, that was really
Locarno's the
fun.
one, Switzerland, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
Amazing. Oh, nice.
yeah, the Italian border of Switzerland.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. It
That
was
sound
cool.
from the outside, it looks really lavish. Was it as fancy as it appears?
It was definitely a fancy town. Switzerland, and have you been to Switzerland?
I've not, but I've heard a lot.
Yeah, it's a very fancy place.
Yeah.
Switzerland in general is like uh kind of overwhelmingly fancy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Uh,
expensive. So
yes,
expensive.
that's
Yeah.
what I've. I think I recall one of my cousins went and she said she paid like what would be in like pounds, like £24 for like a coffee and a croissant, which is
That sounds
quite
about right.
pricey.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, we flew into like Paris and then we took a train from Paris to Locarno
Oh, nice.
and we did the festival and did the premiere and then pretty much went right back to France because we were like, oh, it's just so expensive in
Yeah,
Switzerland that we just want to get back somewhere where it's like semi-affordable.
yeah,
Yeah.
nice. I mean, it seems like you've been like kind of on the go. Like it's been like you say, 2024. There, I think that's about when the last time we spoke. I think it was
I think
beginning
so. I think so.
2024, end of 23, like, and that was the
Yeah.
25-year anniversary of Wrestling with Shadows we
Yeah,
spoke
it was
about.
like the winter of 2024, right? We talked.
Yeah, well, it was either
Yeah.
winter 24, or I think it could have even been end of 23 going into 24.
Yep.
I think in
Yeah,
that
I
in
think
that
so.
ballpark. Yeah, so like,
Wow.
but it seems like you've kind of been on the go, like literally
Yeah.
like one after another, which is great.
Yeah. How about you? How have you been?
Yeah, no, all good, man. It's just been continuing to like do this, build this, and
Yep.
like I'm near completing my masters in screenwriting. I'm very nearly
Amazing.
finishing, and recently did my first like charitable. We did a fundraising show like here locally where I live, so we're raising money for child autism UK, which is like
Cool.
yeah. So we did the performers that I've worked with in the past. We kind of collectively came together, put on a show, and raised money for that. So yeah, it's a lot of
Cool.
firsts and a lot of things were just growing, but it's been really good. And thankfully, keeping
Are
well as
you
well.
for your miter for your masters of screenwriting? Are you writing a film?
Yeah. So we've been every semester, if you will. I've been writing a
Yeah.
screenplay. So I've got about I don't know 4, 5 screenplays now under my belt over the past like 2 years, and this is now complete. The final one is a feature film. So
Oh, sweet.
I'm in like the second act of it. So it's kind of centered around British wrestling kind of history,
Cool.
but then like with a fictional twist of like crime and elements. There's more I'll happily share with you as well if you wish to, if you wish to
I
know.
would love to read it when you feel like sharing it.
Oh yeah, I would love to. I mean, I'd love to get your opinion. And obviously,
Sweet.
unsurprisingly, my whole masters has been centered around wrestling and film. Like that's kind
Yep.
of been my niche. But I think it was good to kind of come into it knowing my niche, knowing my market, knowing
Yeah,
what kind of inspires me as a storyteller,
totally.
and like that has helped a lot. I think I found because I think some people aren't as clear in their direction, and that kind of was very clear for me. So I always had a piece where I've been inspired from, a way I draw inspiration from it as a creative.
I mean, the cliche, right? What you know is like is very true, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, it's like totally like, and be that like you write what you know emotionally or what um, know even historically, which
yeah.
like, yeah, it's cool. And since you have a nuanced view of wrestling, I don't know, that's great. I'm very excited to read it.
No, no, I appreciate that, man, and
Yeah,
I appreciate the support as always from all angles that you've given me. So that's always cool, and it's
sweet.
appropriate. I think that last time we spoke, it was Wrestling with Shadows.
Mhm.
Today is Beyond the Mat because obviously it's been, I think, exactly a month since Barry Blaustein's passing, who was
Mhm.
obviously wonderful, kind of an influence in in cinema and even in wrestling and in his own way. I think believe he was like the writer of a lot of Eddie Murphy films. I
Yeah,
think it was oh god,
Nutty Professor.
yes, yeah, yeah, Nutty Professor, and was it? I always forget the name. Coming to America, was it Coming to America?
Yeah, Coming to America.
There
Yeah,
we
yeah,
go. Yeah,
that's right.
exactly. Yeah,
Yeah,
and so I mean, and of course, Beyond the Mat, which is obviously so iconic for so many
yeah,
different reasons. And I didn't think it was like I don't think I could do justice to doing some kind of like background history of Barry Blaustein, but like we could certainly do justice in talking about the impact of Beyond the Mat
big
because
time.
Resting with Shadows was that conversation we had, the 25-year one, was honestly one of my favorite conversations I've had over
Awesome.
these past few years. I thought it was just a really great insight from your end, and it was really fun to hear.
Super,
And
super fun. Yeah,
so,
super
like, I
fun.
thought, why not go to the arguably, and it was crazy, is back to back those came out. Like 98
Yeah,
was Wrestling with Shadows, 99 was Beyond the Mat, and it's
yeah,
the two still to this day the most influential wrestling films, hands down.
big time. Big
And
time. Yeah,
when I thought about that, I was like, that's actually nuts because it's like so close together. It felt like to me like the film equivalent of like having The Rock and Stone Cold at the same time. You don't have that kind of
yeah,
like
yeah.
side by side kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like, do you remember your first kind of like memory of Beyond the Mat?
Yeah, totally. I do. Beyond the Mat was I saw Beyond the Mat before Wrestling with Shadows, I believe. Or did I? Can't right. You know what? I can't remember my timeline.
Yeah.
If it was like Wrestling with Shadows or Beyond the Mat first. I think it was Beyond the Mat first because I rented it at Movie Network
Hmm.
in Thunder Bay, which was like, a video store where they did 7 movies for 7 days for $7.
Oh wow.
You could get that's actually where my like I would say before I went to film school was my film school experience was like watching in the summer, like getting 7 movies every time I went there
Hmm.
and having to watch those within the week, basically. And that's how I like ingested most film of my early kind of film world. But they had a documentary section there and they had Beyond the Mat there, and I was a wrestling fan. So I didn't see it because when did it come out? 97 or
Wrestling with Shadows or Beyond the Mat?
Beyond the Mat?
Beyond the Mat was I think after. So Wrestling with Shadows 98 and
Yeah.
Beyond the Mat was 99.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, Beyond the Mat. No, I would have seen it then when it came out. Yeah, I would have watched it. It would have been 99 or 2000 that I
Yeah.
rented it and watched it. And yeah, it was kind of, I guess you could really give it like it was my first like the I had known the theatrics of it and I had understood. I was young at the time, so I was still
Mhm.
but it was definitely probably the first break in kayfabe I ever witnessed. I was just
Yeah.
like, oh my goodness, like seeing such a human documentary viewpoint of these people who I was loving watching on on television, and seeing specifically, I mean, there's so many, but specifically Mick, obviously you get such you the we'll get into all of the specifics of it, but Mick being like there's so much access to him and his family and his story and everything like that I don't know, it just completely broke the whole character of mankind in a great way to me, where I was like, I just saw, you're just seeing this real human being now. And so in the sense of like, yeah, it just shattered kayfabe to me in a good way though.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Because funnily enough, like I think like that was a film that I remember my uncle, who was like a huge influence in wrestling and like films for me. He kind of withheld that one from me for a while. So when I
Sure.
was, because when I was younger, he was like, I don't know if you're really, I don't know if it was a sense of appreciating it, or maybe he felt it was a bit too like intense for me. So he kind of
Yes.
withheld that one because I saw Wrestling with Shadows, but he did kind of withheld this one. And it was when I got a bit older, then I finally watched it, and I was like, oh, okay, well, this is like,
Do
this
you
is
remember how
crazy.
old you were?
Oh god, I must have been pretty young. I was maybe early teens, I want to say,
Yeah.
like 12, maybe 13,
Okay.
in
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
that ballpark, I think. Even then, I
That
can
is about to
appreciate.
walk. There's.
Love that, Cam. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can appreciate it that I remember, but I didn't. I'm still young to really understand the nuances of it all.
Mm.
But certainly, you could see this whole other, because I don't know, you kind of were fascinated by Mick, and I loved Mick, but I think I really became my admiration and love for Terry Funk
Yeah.
really grew in that. I think that's when I
Yeah.
learned even more about Terry, and I think I really got into Terry Funk at that time and like his career, and I was like, wow, this is like. I think that was the fresh part for me. I was like, oh, Terry Funk, oh
Yeah.
my god, this guy's unreal, and of course, unfortunately, the sadder part of Jake Roberts' story at that
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, I mean, so that's interesting. That's like my first time seeing it. But I think I have a bigger memory of when I watched it later when I was like 16 or 17.
yeah,
And I'm watching it again. And that's kind of what happened to me that time when I was a little older was Terry Funk became such like I already like had liked a lot of I loved everything Terry was doing with ECW, as a kid and
yeah,
all that. But I think I just knew him when I was a kid. I knew him as more of just an ECW guy. And then Beyond the Mat really brought, I was like, oh, this guy, and I knew because he was touted as a legend there, but I
mm,
didn't realize the legend that he had until I saw Beyond the Mat. And then that made me look into more about Terry Funk and watching his, before our time matches and all that stuff
yeah.
and being like, oh, this guy is, and he's like one of my Mount Rushmores, is Terry Funk. So it it definitely I mean I credit that to Beyond the Mat probably.
Yeah,
Like
yeah. I think
but
like
yeah,
there's, and we'll get into it more. I'm sure. Like
yeah.
what was crazy, obviously, I saw on your Instagram story you watched it like yesterday or the day before,
Yeah, I did.
and obviously I did as well. And I
Mhm.
just what was crazy to me was how much you see and how much this film was a precursor to like so much that we
Oh
now
yeah.
have. Like if we talk about Dark Side of the Ring and all
Yep,
that stuff.
yep.
My God, like would so much have happened without Beyond the Mat? And
Yeah, I
what's
don't think so.
yeah, like what's
Yeah.
crazy is the fact that I think it had this real bad reputation amongst certain people in the business
Yeah.
because people didn't like things getting out, or WWE tried to
Mhm.
stop it, all that kind of stuff. But funnily enough, it's such a supporter of wrestling.
100%.
I think because on the surface, when I remember when hearing about the negativity surrounding it, and obviously the cover of it and like the footage is really raw. There's like a real
Yep.
grittiness to it. So on the
Yeah.
surface, I could believe that. Oh, maybe it is one of those like it kind of.
Sorry.
Oh,
Just
there you go.
I'm downtown Toronto, so there's emergency vehicles.
That's okay. That's okay.
Yeah, I'll try to mute it in time, but yeah.
Yeah, you're good. I couldn't actually hear too much, so I think you're okay.
Oh, that's
I
good.
think.
Okay, so the audio suppression is working. Yeah.
um, but yeah, I was going to say like I could believe as like a from the outside's perspective, not having seen it. I remember I was like, okay, I can believe that maybe it is one of those documentaries that's kind of like showing the bad stuff and it's
Yeah.
downplaying wrestling. But then when you watch it, the opening like lines of Barry is like, "I'm a fan."
Yeah.
And he's kind of saying there's so much more to this than you don't
Yeah.
understand, and like he's always and like from the get go he's an advocate to it, and he doesn't actually knock it, but he just shows some of the actual flaws that existed in the business and
Big
also
time.
the unfortunate reality of some. But there's the Terry and Mick is a very celebrated story.
Yeah, yeah. And the he even like talks about the shame like that people that him as an adult
Yeah.
he
Oh
felt as
yeah.
being a wrestling fan at that in that opening, right? When he's like I don't tell anybody that I'm a
Yeah.
fan of it. I am a fan of it. And I like that he talks about that. He's like, why? Because then he proceeds to show you a whole movie of why you should be a fan of this stuff, that it's more than anything that people say it is. It's we've talked about that in our previous discussions
Hmm.
too. It's like the kind of like looking down at wrestling and looking down is something you still encounter, less so today.
Yeah,
People kind of more understand it now, but back then, big time. It was like, oh, this is for, Hicks and kids, like that was kind of the viewpoint, right?
yeah,
And he, being a Hollywood screenwriter, he was like, yeah, I don't tell people I watch this, but I don't see why I shouldn't, kind of.
yeah, absolutely. And it's so what's amazing about it, it's probably still in a way, arguably, it was the first time I think then that wrestlers were really human,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
truly human. Like it
yeah.
really showed like the real bare bones of who they are in
Mhm.
a great way. Like, and you can really feel empathy for them, and you can actually like relate to them on a whole like another level. And even that line about him, like, I hide that I'm a wrestling fan. The
Yeah.
wrestling fan could then relate because we've all been. I've been there. Like we've all been
Oh yeah,
there. Like
yeah. Where you don't reveal that piece about yourself.
yeah, I remember being in
Yeah,
school and it was like people like would chirp up about it, and I'd kind of be
yeah,
like quiet, and then they're like, "Oh,
yeah,
you like it, right?" And I was like, "Yeah, I do."
yeah,
And
yeah,
I was like, "How's this gonna go?
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
you gonna insult me about it, or you gonna
yeah,
talk to me
yeah.
about it normally?" But like but another thing. I was like, "Wow, this is like it's." I can't recall anything before that really showed that kind of human side because
No,
now it's become somewhat normal. Obviously, with
yeah,
Dark Side and Netflix are doing stuff, but then it was like
yeah.
it
Well, after
was
that,
mind blowing.
I think they realized too, like a lot of the business realized to use these things to their benefit, right?
Mm, yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah.
I think there was a moment like after Beyond the Mat came out, and even I remember talking with people, I won't name drop anybody, but doing interviews on Dark Side and sitting with like, some notable wrestling figures and in between takes or like as we're setting up, just talking about the journey with wrestling and film and whatnot, and bringing up Beyond the Mat as like an important movie. And
Mm,
like I'm talking to people, and these are maybe I'm gonna blow it here, but these are people who are in Beyond the Mat I'm talking to,
yeah,
and I'm like, well, Beyond the Mat like had a big effect on me, and certain people I was talking to would react like they didn't want to even hear that movie's name, even now,
oh wow,
They had this like moment of like they looked at me kind of like, oh, and it's like, yeah, but that has changed everything for the better, Like
yeah,
now, because of Beyond the Mat and Wrestling with Shadows, it's like they turned the reality of the scenario into the kayfabe, right? Like they
yeah,
took all that and put it into the story in ways that almost harkens even more back to original like territory era wrestling, where it's like, the what's the Jerry Jarrett quote that's like real problems make money or whatever,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah, where he had that. And but that it's like, well, when you have a documentary telling you a real story about something, what's more real than that to like get you into the ring, get people watching you into the ring and stuff like that.
yeah. And I thought it was so interesting because at the time, certainly at the time it came out, it was Attitude Era, so it was all about reality. So this kind of
Totally.
took it to another level, and it, yeah, like I said, you could feel it on a deeper level. And I think Mick got elevated by that
Yeah,
because of like
100%.
that, because the whole, I'm a bad dad. That is a really heartbreaking scene, and you're like, and
Yeah,
you feel for him, and you're like, oh no, you're not a bad dad, but that sacrifice you're making is is hard and etc etc, and
yeah,
it's just incredibly admirable, but and also like relatable on so many different levels,
yeah.
which was like
Is it Jim Ross that has the line about like, I see Mick Foley as a guy who knows exactly what he wants his like legend to be or whatever. He knows exactly what he wants his
I
like.
think it was Dave Meltzer, I think said
It's
that.
Meltzer. You're right.
Yeah,
It's
yeah, yeah.
Meltzer. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
A
yeah.
young Dave Meltzer.
Young Dave Meltzer. Yeah. But I do love that line because it's like, yeah, even though Mick like ultimately is a like great father and that's what he wants to be, he also knows very much what he's leaving on the mat, really,
Yeah.
like what he's leaving there for everybody, and he did it, I think, very successfully. Like,
And it's the first and of many. Beyond the Mat was essentially the first tale of Mick and like his legacy of giving it like his stories in various films, even in the
yeah,
recent Dark Side season. It was
yep,
all about the man who sacrificed it all, and
yeah,
how much he sacrificed. And Beyond the Mat was essentially the original of that kind of
yeah,
tale of,
yeah,
because I think originally Mick said in I read a Facebook post that he did about on Barry today actually, and he said that originally Barry was going to present him as like the guy who never quite made it, because
Oh,
when they started filming it,
like Hell in the Cell hadn't happened yet, right?
no,
That
so
yeah,
because I
yeah,
read today actually, the filming was about 3 to 5 years.
yeah.
So
Makes you could feel it. You could feel it in there.
yeah, so they
Yeah.
met when Mick was still, I think, in ECW or just in ECW, and he wrestled Sabu in a match, and he left
Yeah.
WCW, wasn't in WWE. So it
Hmm.
was like this guy who was like on the cusp but wasn't going to quite make it, and that was the angle originally. And then obviously when they
Yeah.
kind of picked up, it was he made it to
Yeah.
the top.
Yeah.
And there was so many. It was funny because I then I think there was a clip I watched of Mick Foley today, funnily enough, and he said Vince who told Barry not to focus on Mick. He told him to focus on Mark Merrow and Ahmed Johnson.
Really? Oh,
Yeah.
that's amazing. Oh.
And I was like, wow, we wouldn't be talking about the same story or the same film had we
I
done
watched
that.
last night. I watched the director's cut, right, which just has a little bit of like the director's cut of Beyond the Mat.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, which has like a little bit more, and it's clear that I feel like they probably shot so much with Coco Beware, you know? I feel like that was like I feel like he had a plan with that, but it maybe didn't work into the final thing. But I just
Yeah.
something about the way that he shot with him, it's like, oh, I think you spent a lot of time with this guy. Like I think
Because
that yeah. I'd love to see more of that too, because that was
he had so many little snippets with people
yeah,
New Jack. Like that was the
that's a good
first
moment. When he brings New Jack to Hollywood.
yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah.
The line. I mean, I don't know how appropriate or how much people would say it nowadays. But when I think New Jack phones him or leaves a voicemail and he's like, "Hey, it's your favorite Negro," like it's New Jack.
Exactly. Yeah, 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 yeah.
It's
Yeah.
very
No,
it's very New Jack.
it's nice seeing their like the love they had for each other too, you know.
Yeah.
That's like yeah.
And then he had bits with China. He had bits with just a
Oh
lot of little
yeah, yeah.
snippets. And I was like, wow, like the
I know
time
he's
capsule of this is nuts. Like
yeah, when because when
when
you think back on it, you think like for me when I before I watched it, I remember like Mike Modest, like that storyline.
oh yeah 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 yeah
I just love that. Like the two tryout guys, I remember that storyline. You remember Mick, you remember Terry, you remember Jake. Those are like the three big
yeah yeah yeah.
that or the four big that you think about all the time, you know. But then yeah, you watch it again, and there's like a little yeah, there's that moment with China, which is great, and there's the moment with um I even that like one moment with Spike Dudley is so good where
I
he's
was
like
gonna say
I love that moment where he's like do you like can you quote any Shakespeare, and he's like pouring blood in the whole scene. Yeah. And what does he say? I shall I do or whatever the
yes
drum
yes I shall I do
Falstaff.
yeah
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. It's great. It's like pretty brilliant actually.
And it's like it's again it's like Mick himself. I think it's this amazing contrast of like what you see on the surface and what actually exists in the human being.
Yes.
And
Yeah, yeah.
and kind of like Barry's whole thing of like they're more than what you think. They're not these
Big
Neanderthals.
time.
They're humans. They have all this intellect. They're performers,
Yeah.
etc., etc., etc.
Yeah. It's
We
great.
touched on it last time as well, and then that idea, it took 3 to 5 years to chronicle and shoot this film, and it's
Mhm.
very it's on the job. It's it's the kind of following along with the subjects. It's in
Mhm.
the WWF headquarters. It's in with it backstage of Bailey Legal, the ECW pay per view. It's
That's right.
it's
Yeah.
very much in the thick of it. That style of documentary, once upon a time, a kind of focal point, I guess you could say, or the premier style, maybe you could argue, of documentaries, because Wrestling with Shadows was the same way. Beyond the Map was very much heavily like that. We don't see that as much nowadays, certainly, because obviously, perhaps a multitude of reasons, time it takes, people wanting quick turnarounds for projects, etc. But that really captures me as well, and I think I like. There's a certain charm and there's a degree of honesty that you get with such kind of style that
Yeah.
yeah, it lacks nowadays. Like when you
Like
compare,
like the verite style, right?
yeah, yeah, absolutely,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. 100%. Like and I think it is only something you could unfortunately get in features, you
Hmm.
know, because we must have talked about this. Correct me, like tell me if
I
I'm
think we touched on it when we were with Wrestling with
yeah.
Shadows as well. Yeah,
Because yeah, talking about how, you know, having been involved in a wrestling documentary series, um you are kind of beholden to your due dates
Yeah,
in your release time because they have that locked in. They're like, well, we have to broadcast this at a certain date, or we have to put this all on the streaming service at a certain time. Like that's like it's in our contracts, we
Hmm.
have to. And there's like heavy fees and fines if you don't,
Yeah,
pat and all those things. So you really like fight to do that. Whereas with a documentary, like narrative feature, you maybe don't unless you've signed with a certain thing that has that like release date. If it's not done yet, you can be like, well, there's more I need to explore. There's more I need to shoot. There's more
Mhm.
happening. The story's not over yet. So like let us keep going, which is yeah, that is you're gonna get a more I mean, you're just gonna get a more thought out project that way, I think. If you
Yeah,
have more time. More time for anything is always great. And yeah, like obviously Beyond the Mat has that. And it's yeah, you don't see the verite style. I feel like with Dark Side, I must have said this before too. The closest one to me that feels like we're doing that I was like heavily involved in was the Nick Gage episode.
yeah, yeah,
And I
yeah,
know it's a lot of us that we're telling a lot of the story of what happened with him and all that. But to me, what was exciting was it's like this guy's like when we shot with him, it was very much still an active, like his journey is he's in the middle of his story right now
yeah,
when we
yeah,
filmed with him. And I like that. I like that. I wish we got to go film at like a bit more at a GCW match or something with him behind the scenes and stuff, but it wasn't in the cards because we had to go do other interviews for other episodes.
yeah, yeah.
Um but it still felt like, oh, this is like we're in the middle of a story right now, and
Hmm.
that's fun. Like that's Dark Side is mainly retrospective,
Yeah, yeah, exactly,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
And obviously, like it's incredible, but like there is a
Mhm.
degree of, I think, there's a degree of honesty that's unattainable in all the other forms. But
Yep.
like the fly in the wall documentary style, like the verite style,
Yeah.
the honesty that you are able to capture because they're constantly on there. You're with them all the
Yeah.
time, and eventually they will break, or they kind of like will let you in, or because one or
Yeah.
two interviews, it's kind of like controlled, and I guess
Absolutely.
they can kind of hide the what they want to share, or etc. etc. And so like
True.
it's a really seeing that and reminding myself of that when watching this. It was kind of like, oh wow, like we don't get this that much anymore.
I know I've heard it before, but do you have any insight on like how Barry was able to get that access?
I, you know what, that was one of the things, and I think watching it back as well, for so many reasons, this film stands as like unprecedented and like
Yeah.
never to be done again. But I think nowadays it's kind of a different reason for why it would never be done again because
Hmm.
no one's going to stroll into WWE's
No.
headquarters like that. And I
No.
think one of the reasons he got it, I think, because WCW refused.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think
That's
that was
I remember
one
that. Yeah.
way they got in because WCW refused, and obviously it was the midst of like the rivalry. So then
Yeah.
WWE, I think that was one of the reasons WWE were like, sure, like
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
come
Yeah.
to
Come
us.
on.
I think that helped them.
Yeah.
I'm not. I actually don't know too much beyond that, and maybe because Mick was a part of it, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But like there was that like that level of access that they got from WWE, an outsider got from WWE, and
Yeah.
also like the full scale of wrestling that's encompassed in one film.
It's amazing.
The top, the legendary kind of
Yeah.
finale of Terry wasn't really the finale, obviously, but
I know.
and then
Well,
Mick's
that's like that end like because when you're watching it now, knowing that like yeah, this is not his retirement at all. But I love that at the end he gives that the classic documentary postscript where it's like this was not his last match. He ended up
yeah.
wrestling again like a year later or whatever it was. Like there was no, and then it's just such a like a great. I mean, it ties into the themes that it's like these like they're never gonna give it up.
Yeah.
Oh, that's it. This is who they are. This is it. Like, yeah,
Yeah, no, and but then beyond the like fly on the wall like kind of style, it is a bit of a hybrid though. Like because he narrates it, and Barry's kind of a figure in the film, like sometimes more than others. Like he narrates it, he's seen on camera. They do have the interview, like kind of sit down interview style. They follow along. They have the kind of archival footage, like in the reflexive style. And then
hmm
of course he has his like humor that he uses to kind of like his comedic writing comes into play. So he makes
yeah,
even like the heaviest of things and he balances it with a bit of humor, which you do see in like Dark Side, even like in
Yeah,
glimmers, like there's that moments of like levity, which Dark Side does quite nicely sometimes, and there's
yeah,
the cinematic qualities to like how Beyond the Mat did it. So that hybrid style, like again, I think even then it seems like okay, like the combination of what you did inspired so
yeah,
many as well because
yeah.
it wasn't just this one trick pony, if you will. There was a little bit of this, a little
Well,
bit of
the
that.
director's cut has recreations too. I don't
Oh,
know.
really?
Yeah, the
Oh,
director's cut opens with a big recreation scene of him remembering the first time he like went to a match when he was a kid, and they filmed this like kind of cinematic scene of him like seeing a this big wrestler like eclipse the light and like put cast a shadow on him and everything,
yeah,
and then he's outside the as a little kid he's outside the arena and he sees this wrestler. He doesn't say who it is. He's just like, and I see this guy who I just watched like get bloody in the ring. And he's like getting into a station wagon with a family and he's like driving away. He's like, that was the first time. He was like, what? Like, what is this? What am I watching here? You know, like this guy has a family. This guy I just watched do all this. Yeah.
that's all. To be fair, now think about it, I don't think I've ever seen the director's cut.
Oh, you got to check it out. It's
Is it
crazy.
longer as well in
Yeah,
like
it's
in
longer.
length?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh wow,
It
okay, yeah,
doesn't, there's not like any new scenes. I would say just some extended interviews.
sure.
I mean, that scene actually, yeah, that is a
That's yeah,
whole, just extended moments. Like
yeah.
it's good. It's really good.
But like I've like on like yourself included, every filmmaker is inspired by Beyond the Mat.
Yeah.
Certainly in this realm of wrestling documentaries
Oh
and
yeah.
like wrestling films. Tommy Avalon, who did a film on with Mick, the Christmas film, I Am
Oh
Santa Claus.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
Joe Clark, who did the Sabu documentary that came out last year, which is actually much more in that vein, fly on the wall
yeah.
kind of like style. You know, Jason and like Evan from Dark Side
Hmm.
yourself, everyone mentions Beyond the Mat. Like,
Hmm.
and that kind of the style and that kind of creativity that he has to telling that story, like the hybrid style, the use of humor, like the
Yeah.
fly on the wall, etc. Do you think all of those, not just the fact of the story he told, but the manner and the style he told it, was the benchmark, and that's why it's the kind of, I guess you could say, the pinnacle, maybe along with him, like Wrestling with Shadows, that is,
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I think it's like it's that same thing we've talked about before where it's like he makes it accessible to people who aren't wrestling fans as
mm,
well. You know, like it's just it's literally it's an entertaining story about humans. And he tells it in a way that's like got craft to it and yeah, it's I think it is probably the pinnacle of it's definitely the pinnacle benchmark of wrestling documentaries. It just is.
when you compare the two, like Wrestling with Shadows and like Beyond the Mat, where does it? Because they're similar in many ways, but like obviously Wrestling with Shadows is just on Brett, and it has the
Yeah.
bigger narrative because obviously the more iconic narrative, certainly in the wrestling space,
Yeah.
and maybe at the time the biggest star with Brett.
Sure.
Um, but like but Beyond the Mat is certainly, I think, from a filmmaker standpoint, seemed to be had more kind of critically acclaimed, you could say, arguably.
Yeah.
What do you think that stands out as the two like distinguishing differences of what makes maybe Beyond the Mat? I don't know if you could argue a certain level higher or whatever it may
Sure.
be.
I mean, maybe it's just what you already. Oh, Brett is in Beyond the Mat though as well.
Outcome technically true.
Yeah. But yeah, it's not a character, but he is. He is in it. Um, the I think it's what you already said before, where it has such a breadth of um, what's the word I'm looking for? It showcases such a breadth of the wrestling world, you know, where it's like you literally have yeah the people starting out trying out with the WWF. You have people midpoint in their journey or like almost like to superstardom at the WWF. You have legends retiring. You have retired post legends who are in a very dark place. You have all these like crazy elements of wrestling that you kind of see it all. I mean, obviously, the wrestler took tons of references from
Yeah,
this
yeah, yeah,
film, from Jake's story specifically,
yeah.
right? It's you feel that in the Randy the Ram character fully, you know, and yeah, I think it just showcases a. I mean, I'm not saying I don't want to say greater. It doesn't showcase. It just showcases a grander um uh landscape
Yeah,
of the
yeah.
wrestling world.
I think, yeah, and I know I 100% agree because I think obviously, yeah, Wrestling with Shadows is just Brett and the world of
Mhm.
WWE, but like predominantly. But I feel like I could show Beyond the Mat to a wider audience,
Yeah,
perhaps than Wrestling with Shadows. And
yeah.
I think also like even the like not that I can't, I think I can show Wrestling with Shadows to other people. That's why it's so good. But there is still perhaps this because of the story of Brett being screwed and some for some non-fans that might still be hard to wrap their head around in a way.
Yeah, yeah,
Whereas Beyond the Mat
you'd
is
almost want to show someone Beyond the Mat and then Wrestling with Shadows.
yeah,
Yeah, right? Like that would be the way, I feel.
yeah. The
Yeah,
opposite
yeah.
order of in which they came out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah,
Because
no,
Beyond the
it's
Mat
like
would give you a whole scheme, like, oh, I have a whole view of this entire industry now.
yeah.
And then you get now here's an insane story within the industry. Like here, yeah, like
When watching it back, like I mentioned, like it being such a mad time capsule and seeing so many different figures where they were. Like it's technically The Rock's first film, and
Mhm.
we know where he is today.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, was there anything that struck you, like watching it back, and you're like, wow, this is just like even if it's just something so what can appear insignificant in the grand scheme of it, but like it just felt so surreal to see.
Yeah, especially now, like it's so fun to watch it now too, or as you get older, you have a bigger understanding of wrestling. You're like, oh my
Yeah,
God, that's because I even think like as a kid, I was like, oh, I didn't even realize that was Spike Dudley, in that moment.
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
like, well, that's Spike Dudley. Holy crap. And I mean, it's great just even in that tryout footage, like all the legends behind them just walking around. Oh, well, there's that one shot of the oh my God, the what were they called? There was like Luna and Kurgan and Earthquake.
Oh,
Uh,
I can't. Yeah, I can't. Yeah, the name's
the
eluding me.
side they were like the idea is they were like freak sideshow
Yep. Yeah,
characters or whatever. But I just like having done the John Tenta episode,
yeah,
learning that he was like they masked him up and stuff and put him and just seeing him in the background in the mask, like the leather mask with like the Cartman shirt on and stuff, and seeing that in the background, I was like, oh man, like before that was just an innocuous background shot of the wrestlers walking, but it's like I now know the history and the sadness of that moment, and I'm like getting
yeah,
to see a little behind the scenes, like just of them getting ready to go out and wrestle, and so that I think was just a little moment that now has so much more. Um, Also, I mean, and even just the fact that he is there filming with ECW on their first pay-per-view,
yeah.
and ECW is kind of like in the doc is presented as not that like they're not a startup, but it's like they're presented as kind of just like a not even they're not in competition with WWF at all in this
No,
story. It's just like, oh, they are a more indie circuit. They're viewed as a more indie circuit when he's filming this, which is like that is crazy to think about now, you know?
yeah.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
it
Like,
was yeah, like it was just so many. I think like again, like you said, those small moments. I was just like I think even there was the moment when I think it was the Royal Rumble before mixed match with
yeah,
Rock, and
yeah.
it was Mick, his kids, his wife, and then Rock talking to the kids, and then Steve Austin comes in and
Oh,
like meets the kids, and then Steve's talking about his daughters, which obviously, unfortunately, Steve
yeah,
has doesn't have the best relationship with them, like
yeah, yeah, yeah,
nowadays and all that kind of stuff. And then Shane McMahon came in, and just that little moment, he's like, "This
yeah,
is like crazy," like because
yeah,
obviously
yeah,
the
yeah.
stature they were, and that little moment of and knowing what where they go off to and what happens.
Totally.
Yeah, it's just like it was very surreal.
What does he say when he's like when Stone Cold comes up and he's just like, "Oh, Steve, how you doing?" "Oh, not that well actually. Not doing that well." That was
And
great.
again, actually, like in a funny and like such a small way, it again shows
Yeah.
like the real life of the wrestlers,
Yes.
like
Yeah.
what they
Yeah.
like they're constantly in pain, the battle they go through, and then they're still
Totally.
just
Yeah.
cracking on and doing things.
Yeah, yeah, it is crazy. I want to see if I made a note about any little things that
Did you also, as a side note, like obviously we spoke last time, one of the last times we spoke, you spoke about filming with Terry for Darkseid.
yeah.
What was it like looking back on this footage of Terry and then kind of knowing that you had, your own moment like so many years later?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's so crazy because that's the home. Like we're in that house, that was the one too. Like that's where we filmed him was in that home in Amarillo. Like and I believe it was at least.
Yeah.
Pretty sure. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I remember him also saying, I don't know if I said this, but him also saying to us, "Oh, you would have like loved to meet my wife," when we came there.
Oh, of course, yeah, she was passed by that point,
Yeah,
wasn't
she
she?
had passed by the
Yeah.
time we filmed. Yeah, and he was saying that, and just getting, you know, thinking of him saying that to us, and then seeing, getting to see them together on film there, and just that relationship that they had and stuff. It was, yeah, it does put a new context into things, when you've met these people and when you have spent time with them.
Did you ever
And
keep a tally of like, could you be like, oh, met that person, oh, did something on this person? Because
I
it feels
didn't
like
keep a
quite a lot in a
tally.
way.
It did have. I didn't keep a tally, but it definitely there were times like, man, it's crazy. I met that
Yeah.
person. I met that person. Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
also, funny enough, actually, I remembered watching the documentary. Beyond the Mat was the first time that's when I was introduced to Terry's legendary Forever promo.
Forever,
Oh, yeah.
forever. Yeah, that's right.
Because I remember watching this and I also got so enamored with Terry. I quoted
Yeah,
it forever and ever, forever
yeah, yeah,
afterwards.
forever. Yeah, that's great. Yeah,
It was, and one of the other scenes that definitely strikes me, and it kind of Jake Roberts, obviously, so many like moments, and thankfully he's all good now. So it's crazy even now to look back on him being so
yeah,
good, and now obviously where he was. That
yeah,
scene where I think he is after he met his daughter, and his daughter kind of like lays a lot of hard truths on him, and then he takes crack,
yeah.
and then they go and then Barry meets him, and he's not obviously he's high, he's not really with it.
He's kind of like rambling and stuff,
Yeah,
and
and it's
yeah,
like
yeah,
the editing in that, and then it's like this surreal, just wild and very kind of dark. Kind of it gets a bit
yeah.
dark there, where like it kind of goes into fades, and he's going off in another tangent, and he's going in this direction. Like that was one of the certainly the scene that kind of stood out to me when I was like, okay, God, this is pretty intense, and this was like, oh, this was a layer that I forgot, like how deep it goes.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. And it's like it doesn't in his rehabilitation happened so far after this movie
Yeah,
that
yeah,
it's crazy to think that I mean I could see why Jake or someone would probably not be happy with this movie or thing because it ends with like him, being in a pretty dark place in his life and
yeah,
that's just when the movie ends. I also that there's something that after the fact really hit me too is that like the scene with him and Grizzly when they're like working and stuff and together and he gives a little bit of a snippet of them not having a good relationship at all,
yeah,
but just knowing you know the again the breadth of how traumatic that entire relationship was and just knowing like you know knowing more and more about that guy from the rest of the family
yeah.
is it puts a whole new feeling on that scene, right?
I was wondering that as well, because obviously the Grizzly Smith episode is one of the
Yeah.
most now iconic, I guess, darker side document episodes. I can't remember. Did you work on that episode?
Oh yeah, I
Yeah,
shot it.
I feel like we did. Yeah, I feel like we
Yeah.
you did, and like that again for me was like another reminder of the layers and the precursor of what like Beyond the Mat was for so much. Like,
Yeah.
does that story get told without Beyond the Mat, or get rid
Hmm.
like is it known enough, or is it then to be explored? Is New Jack become as big
Yeah.
of a figure to be explored? Does the wrestler have what does it become what it
Yeah.
does if Darren Aronofsky doesn't see this film and take so much
Yeah.
inspiration from it? The
Yeah.
style of the documentary, because I know WWE Vince didn't like it because it's exposed too much of the business, and then 2 years later he did start doing his own versions of
Yeah.
it and
Yeah.
the
Of
behind
course.
the
Yeah.
scenes of everything. So like, if you take this away, what do we have?
Yeah. No, totally. Totally. And it's like it like as we talked about earlier, where it's like it changed they use it as the kayfabe now.
Yeah,
They use this documentary, they use this as the stories now. Like these are these influence the matches and these influence the rivalries and everything, like these are like people you like, you got people AEW doing like, you know, Dark Side of the Ring parodies and things like that. It's like, but that's all because of this. Like
Yeah.
this started all of that. So yeah.
Do you remember ever consciously like any project you've done, whether it's Dark Side or anything else, where you've consciously been like, oh yeah, I like that thing they did in Beyond the Map. I want to try to do something like that.
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely. I can't think of a direct moment, but I guarantee it's happened a million times. Just the few little verite moments we've got to do in Dark Side of the Ring, which are few and far between, but we have got to do them. Um, they are all influenced by like the verite of, like, if I could make anything feel like Barry's crew behind the scenes at WWF, like I can't believe how candid that camera is,
Yeah.
like how everyone acts, as you just said, how like Stone Cold just comes up and makes a comment. Same with Wrestling with Shadows though too. That's also a
Yeah.
very candid camera as well, where like you've got full conversations happening with Vince and and everybody, and uh yeah, yeah, because that stuff is so exciting. I mean, what an amazing moment that I mean, one of many, but is Mick after the Rock match, and
Hmm.
he's runs into the Rock, and I mean, I'm gonna say it, but Mick seems like pretty pissed off.
Yeah.
And like I mean, he's the nicest guy, so that's as pissed as Mick gets right there. He's just such a nice guy, but you could tell he's just like, you're not, you hit me in the wrong, like you're supposed to be doing that. You hit me in the wrong side, and the Rock's kind of like, I don't know. He's like, no, no, you did do that, and it's just like I like being able to be there in that moment is so crazy and kind of magic, and
Yeah.
uh and he's like, that gash is like so huge that he got on his. It's a real, like real. Uh, he got really whacked there with
I
that chair.
think
That's for
to
sure.
quote, I think one of his kids, it was a big boo boo.
Big boo boo. Yeah, 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 yeah. It's a big boo boo. Yeah. I
One of the
mean
things I
that
found. Also, you go.
that scene is like gutting. It's like I got emotional watching it last night. Just watching his children like crying, and his wife just trying to like comfort them. And it's like, yeah, you're literally watching your father get like, as a little kid, you'd be just watching your father get like beaten bloody in
Mm.
front of you. That's pretty horrifying. It's a pretty horrifying thought, that's for sure.
Yeah, and watching that scene back, I was also kind of like, wow, if anyone doubts wrestling or still to this day, I was like, I'd show
Yeah.
them that scene
Hmm.
and be like,
Remember
how do you
watching the
explain
guy
that?
like, there's also like this time it really clocked me was the people around them were
Mm,
like kind of like watching them and watching these kids, and you could tell that, like, I mean, if they're that close, they're pretty big fans, so I'm sure they knew that was like Mick's family, and you could see these, like, even the fans are just like, oh, this is like seeing these kids sobbing and screaming. It's like, this isn't performance.
yeah,
That's real. That kid's not acting. That kid is like actually really scared right now, and that's what does that feel like?
yeah. It's when she
Yeah.
calls out like when she's like crying and she says like "daddy," like that really gets me. Like no one
Oh,
says that.
oh,
Like that was
yeah.
tough. And what also I found like nuts, and again now knowing what we know about like concussions, is when Mick's wife
Mm.
asks him about what time their flight
Time's
is.
our flight. Yeah.
And then someone's like from the back, like asking, like says something, and she's like, "Oh no, 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 I'm just testing his memory."
Yeah.
And I'm
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
"Oh wow!" Like, but
Yeah.
now obviously, so much what we like know about concussions. You're like, okay, wow, like even then, she's like testing the
Oh yeah.
waters, and obviously just like so it must have
Yeah.
like things were going on then, let alone
Yeah. Yeah. It was like, I guess at that point, where are we at with that? It's probably like, it's a discussion, but it's not like at the end, because the NFL was the first ones to really bring the CT discussion forward, right?
I think so,
I
yeah,
think. And then of course, uh, in the early 2000s, of course, it became WWE, a heavy WWE topic, but yeah.
yeah, because I think it was '99, so like I don't know, I didn't even think that like that stuff really became big in wrestling until like Benoit passed. I think
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
like that was like
Yeah.
almost 10 years later.
Yeah, exactly. Where I think that's right. Before Benoit, I think NFL was discussing that stuff. I
Yeah.
think they were trying to discuss the same, not to the degree that it became a conversation after, but yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Was there
yeah.
any like I think obviously I cut you off before you about to look into your notes, but was there anything that stood out to you as far as like any particular scene or like whether it was just how it captured you, things you didn't remember that you kind of really not caught you off guard, but it just kind of brought you back.
Well, I mean, I could talk about my favorite storyline. My favorite moment in the entire film is everything with Dennis Stamp. That's like I just think that is like such a beautiful character, narratively and in reality. I just
Yeah.
think there's something.
I was gonna say, like, as a filmmaker, do you look at certain things differently now, like appreciation level?
Well, yeah, like I mean, the fact that they s- that's another character who I believe they spent a lot more time with than we know. I think they shot a lot with Dennis Stamp.
Yeah.
I mean, to just get that trampoline scene is like, oh, you were shooting with this guy for a while, and it's just such a real interaction. And anybody who's ever felt jealousy or felt like they're not appreciated, I'm sure we've all felt those
Yeah,
feelings, you know what I
yeah,
mean? And it's like, and you have that like I don't know, like you really feel for this guy. He's literally been doing it the same amount as time as Terry. You know what I mean? He's been doing it all and he's like he's a fixture in that same town, in that same the wrestling community of that town. And then to not even be like asked, to be involved in this huge match, it's like you would feel like, you feel this moment of he's like, I've like, did I waste my entire life? Like, what is this?
yeah,
And I don't know. I just find that like so relatable and so touching and it has like a happy moment, like
yeah,
by like Terry being like, please like come and ref like Brett and I, and Dennis like tries to save face, he's just like, he holds on to that pride. He's like, nope, I'm not going to do it. I have other arrangements, and then him reappearing at the arena while they're setting up, being like, did you mean that? It's so great. It's just like I can't give it up. It's the main event. Right. But yeah.
yeah.
And
It's
him just like
it's
he paints the whole like theme of the wrestler. He's like where he's just like I've been in the locker room. I've seen those old guys, and they all look like old dogs, just like begging for scraps. And it's like he paints such a great picture, himself and his own. It's great. I love the Dennis Stamp
yeah.
storyline.
No, that's yeah. Like that's what again I marveled at. I think when I watched this back is those little nuggets because
Yeah.
the story could like in the hands of a lesser director that could get really messy. And it could
Yeah.
feel like the story could like it could lose its way and it could just feel very clunky, but it never feels
Yes.
that way. Like he just
No.
seamlessly like embeds these little nuggets amongst like the larger story arcs.
No, he moves really well. Like, yeah, like like from Mick into Terry's story, and then into he goes Terry into ECW, and then like
Mm.
back to Terry. Yeah, it all like flows really well in this way that, or even like he's starting at WWE and then going to what's I wrote it down here, APW,
Oh
like
yeah,
where
the independent
yeah,
promotion. Yeah,
going to the school like where people are training, and then bringing them, they bring you back to WWF because well, even Barry, like that's an interesting aspect of the film too, that Barry is the reason they get the tryout.
yeah. He showed them the
He
tape.
shows the tape to
Yeah,
JR, right? Because JR was head of talent at the time,
yeah,
right? And it's just like it's so crazy. Like that's a crazy thing to put in a doc that the director is like, I went and showed this tape, and like
yeah,
it's fun. I mean, it's something that you could see someone, maybe a lesser director, eliminating that because like I don't like that. I don't want to show my influence in this,
mm.
but I don't know. It doesn't bump me at all. It feels cool.
Yeah. No, like yeah. I was thinking about just what blew me away. Like there was this, like I said, there's the countless nuggets of like what he
Hmm.
did, and because
Yeah.
he wrote like he obviously talked about writing the film as well. Like I watched this little interview of him, and that's an interesting thing, right? To like write a doc. I mean, obviously, I've never had first-hand experience about that, but like writing a documentary. But then
Sure.
obviously, especially with how he did it, he couldn't have predicted half of what he got.
No.
So it's interesting to like how he would then write it beforehand and then obviously go in and film it and like
Yeah.
that. Like, have you ever had that kind of experience of like I don't know, writing a documentary per se?
Well, we have like on Dark Side of the Ring, we have story producers who are
Yeah,
writing things, and um, a lot of the time, like you need that because you need to go out with some sort of plan, right?
sure, sure,
You
sure. Yeah,
you need something written and kind of an idea of the story, and you need to see that there's a story there before you embark on getting all the people involved.
Yeah, yeah,
um,
sure.
but with me more than anything, a documentary um, changes entirely the second you start filming.
Mhm.
So it's just a blueprint. It's just a little template blueprint that will morph and change as you go. Like I think about maybe one of the most intense. Well, even like no, Herb Abrams stayed pretty close to what we had written, but it changes. Things change as you're making them. Because you start realizing you're like some stories, like especially from a documentary, you try to have some journalistic integrity sometimes
Yeah,
too.
yeah,
Like certain stories will be like, I don't know if we can like this is it's just a hearsay story. Like I don't like we don't have proof that this. So it's like, are we really
yeah,
gonna like just put this out there? And there's aspects of Herb Abrams' life that was like they're just like there are things that definitely happen, and there are things that are just like, well, people think this happened, or
like
like
the
maybe it
folk
did
tales.
happen, but
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. So it's like you can't unless you're saying, and we did. I think that's what we kind of did in that episode where we were like, well, let's make it. It's like it's like all these people's opinion of what they think happened, and that's, and then it's fun because then you see all these different venues of what. It's just this character that was in their life, so they were able to make this. Oh, this is definitely what happened in this part of his life.
yeah.
Uh, but I think the Brian Pillman episode was one that like completely changed for us. Like, it was supposed
Oh,
to
really?
be, yeah, yeah, it was supposed to be one story. And uh, then when we were meeting with his ex-wife, um, it was just became very clear that this has was still not that it wasn't shot, of course it is, but it was still very much affecting the everybody's in his like his kids and his it still very much was like affecting their lives that there was still a story there. There's more
Yeah,
of a after it wasn't just that oh he it wasn't just that he was in a big accident and was injured and then eventually died and he could have been a legend like that that's what you think is the story and then
yeah,
it's like, no, there's like this whole other piece of the story after that happens where you have a whole family who's affected and it becomes something bigger than you even you know
anticipate.
realized that
Yeah,
it was the story we were going out to tell. So
yeah,
that's why that episode was supposed to be one and then became a two-parter because
yeah,
it
yeah,
just
yeah.
there's so much here. And
The one that also strikes me is the when you were talking about like especially how things change and like journalistic integrity.
yeah,
Gina Hernandez
sure,
was
yeah,
it the discovery of like what
totally.
like the gang like the reveal at the end where they finally discover I can't, what was the reveal like that like the gang didn't actually murder him or
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think
I,
it was
I,
that
I didn't work on that episode, but I love that episode. It's great.
yeah
Yeah,
yeah
yeah, yeah, yeah. 100%. That's like
and that was like an on the job like kind of discovery wasn't it I
yeah,
believe
yeah, yeah. And there were moments like we had, you know, there were times where things like that have happened to us that we can't fully. Again, we there are things we've recorded. People have said that are just like, whoa, they had a whole new angle to this story that everyone thought they knew. Um, but again, it's like how sure are we that that's the truth?
yeah
It's like we don't, you need to investigate this further to really understand if this is the truth. Anyway, but that's besides beyond the mat.
yeah no
Yeah,
but it kind of talks about like if you experience that on what you were doing
yeah,
God knows what like Barry experienced, the level that Barry experienced it in terms of
yeah,
like the twist and turn, like turns that he got. Because even I think he in the narration he says through his filming he hadn't heard from Jake, and then finally
yeah.
like in the middle of him filming, Jake finally reached out, and then he got access to Jake, and then
That's
the
right.
film took a whole new turn. I imagine with Jake's involvement.
That's right. Yeah. No, it's so good. That whole storyline is amazing. One thing that did jump out at me, just a little minor thing that I didn't realize in the ECW pay-per-view, it's Terry Funk versus Sandman, which was cool.
Oh
Like
yeah,
I just saw I was like, "Oh yeah, it's Sandman. That's amazing." I didn't realize it was
because I think it was a triple threat if I remember correctly.
triple.
I think it's Sandman, Terry Funk, and Stevie Richards. I think it was.
That's right. Yes,
And
yes, that's right.
then if Terry won, then he faced Raven, or whoever won went face
That's
Raven, something
right.
along those lines. Yeah. Um,
Yes.
and like, I literally just lost my train of thought. I had a question in
That's
my
all
head.
right.
I know
I'm
you're all
sorry.
good. Um, oh, it'll come back to me. What was I gonna say?
Um
we're talking about.
Talking about Barry capturing moments like Jake Jake contacting him partway through.
Yes, yes, yes. And I think what I was going to go where I was going to go from that was there was obviously various quotes in the and I was actually I have a list of some of the quotes that were kind of iconic or stuck out in my head, and I was going to get your reaction to from the
Yeah.
movie. But one of the most iconic quotes, and it's used quite comically afterwards, is the where Vince is drinking the water bottle, and he's like,
Mm.
"We make movies."
We make
And
movies.
and people have kind of used that in quite a comedic light since, but in a lot of ways, he wasn't wrong.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's true.
Like
It's true.
whether
And
it's the
cut right
WWE
to like,
specifically or
yeah,
other things around it, like they
totally.
made movies.
Yeah. And the cut to the Dude Love like promo he's filming after that. Like, do you see the cables in the background?
Yeah,
I want a good clean shot here, boys. I want a good clean shot. Yeah, it is true. Like they're making movies, and I wonder if that. I always wonder well, the way he says it. We make movies, and he makes that like kind of like
yeah,
face, and it's like, is he appealing to Barry? I think he is, right?
yeah,
Is he? He's kind of like he's like you make movies. You we just make movies here, man. Like it seems like he's like even less than appealing to the audience. He's trying to like appeal to this guy. He's trying to be
yeah.
like
Trying to
I
win
do the
Barry
same
over.
thing you do, buddy, kind of thing. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. No,
yeah,
it's really fascinating in that way, and oh yeah, like I said, I have some of the quotes, and I'll read you, and I'll read the
yeah.
quotes,
Please,
and then like you give me whatever reaction comes to your head. So I did the we make movies, but I'll pivot and I'll give another Vince McMahon one,
yeah.
and again iconic. He's gonna puke. Oh,
Puke.
he's gonna puke.
He's gonna puke. So I have a funny story about that. About he's gonna puke. We did. I shot a movie a long time ago called Operation Avalanche. DP. I'm in it as well. It's a found footage movie about these CIA agents who get they discover that NASA can't make it to the moon for 1969, and so they get tasked by NASA to fake the moon landing.
Okay.
And I, while we were making that, for some reason, I was on. This is before I started on Dark Side. I was on a big. I was kind of like had a little resurgence in this point of my life with wrestling again, and I was like watching it on our off days, and I was watching Beyond the Mat all the time, and I was quoting that constantly on set. I was always like, "He's gonna puke," and it was a very improvisational film, and we shot a scene where like the two leads uh I can't remember what happens. One of the guys, something happens and he gets nauseous, and like we had the other lead, who was the director of the film too, started doing a full Vince McMahon, like he's got a puke, and it's all this like 16 millimeter camera footage of like these CIA agents doing a scene from Beyond the Mat. Didn't make the
I
final movie, but we
I was
shot
gonna
it.
say I need to see the scene.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I should ask if it's anywhere. Yeah, it's a yeah. It was crazy. I love he's gonna puke. See draw. I mean, there's a very
oh yeah, God, yeah,
like seeing draws there, and like and the I mean the fact that they like it sucks that he couldn't give it more weight because the film's done by the time Draws was paralyzed, right? So he
yeah,
has to give it that like postscript at the end where it's just like
yeah,
a
yeah,
still image, which I'm glad he did, but because like if that had happened while he's shooting, that gets put in the film. Right? That's a huge storyline. Then
yeah.
Puke and Draws become a main character of that
Mhm.
story if he was filming during that time. But it's this weird like because he wasn't filming, it's just this weird kind of postscript that you're you're just reminded of how tragic this business can be.
Yeah.
Yeah,
In so many ways as well. Like, and it's
yeah,
crazy. It goes again, kind of like the genius of the film. It's amongst these little comedic moments or
yeah,
humorous light moments, but you see the kind of the dark reality of it as well,
yeah,
which is
yeah.
nuts.
There's also he's gonna puke is when before that when Vince is like we think it's best you're going to be puke when he's like saying that, and I don't know, you see watching it this time I feel like I was really watching Draws and I was watching his expression, and it's like he's happy to be being given a role
Mm.
there, but you could tell he's got that kind of nervous laughter where you're like I don't know, where it's like he's hiding that he's maybe a little bit disappointed. To being like, you're going to be called puke. And I could tell that they're navigating that too, even Vince, because he's just like, I think puke is great. You've got animal, you've got hawk, and you've got puke.
I think what was the line?
And
He
he's
said,
just,
"Puke has a great connotation," or something like that.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And I think Draws goes like, I've never heard it that way before. It's like, never heard it said that way before. And it's true because, and then great moment of him calling his mom. You're like, you'd be
Oh,
so proud of me. Like, I'm gonna be puke. So, yeah, it's quite sweet because I mean, Draws is also was the nicest person. Like, just a
hmm.
very
He
and
was
and
on
a,
Dark Side as well. Interviewed
yeah,
for Dark
yeah,
Side.
and
Everything I want to
maintained a pretty like maintained such a positive view of life
Hmm.
even after his paralyzation, and just was always, you see him in this footage, it's like, oh yeah, he's like, looks like a very sweet, kind person, in
Yeah,
the way.
yeah.
Yeah.
He definitely wouldn't do over in like that short span.
Oh,
And
right away, you're just like, oh, I want this guy to be a superstar.
and just talking about it, actually, I think that's the only. People always talk about. There's countless stories of Vince now, like his sales pitches to people and these wacky
Yeah.
ideas. That's the only time, to my knowledge, I think we've ever got that on camera.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's
Like
great.
even in
And like,
WWE documentaries, they don't. He doesn't. There's the cutoff. Like whenever you
oh
get to
yeah,
like the office, it's like, oh, you can't record this.
totally, totally. Yeah, I think JR and Shane are sitting there as
Yeah.
well. It's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah. Yeah.
And the other quote I have, it
Yes.
would go back to the Spike Dudley one. Uh, 4 years, but it's what I think what Barry says to Spike. 4 years ago, you were teaching the third grade. Now you're mutilating yourself every night.
So good.
I don't know.
Yeah. It's great.
While
It's
he's
great.
like just pouring blood.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I love that. Spike is so endearing in that one shot. It's crazy. He's just such an endearing interview, just in that one little moment, and yeah, it's great. It's so great.
Again, the contrast is amazing.
Yeah,
The blood and then the the
yeah.
innocence of it all.
I have a
Uh,
quote. I have a quote I wrote down. I wrote down a quote too,
yeah,
because it's something I say all the time. Never, I say it like as a joke all the time, or say it on set sometimes if it's like a lot of cast on set or something. I always go like, I somehow work into, ladies and gentlemen, this is the dance. You've
Paul
made
Heyman.
it to the dance, and this is the dance. I just love it so much.
That was a hell of a
It's
speech.
such a it's such a good pep talk he gives there. It's crazy. I mean, an amazing amazing on the mic, that's for sure.
Yeah, I actually forgot that that footage of that speech was from Beyond the Mat because I watched it years later
Yeah,
after I saw Beyond the Mat, and I kind of half forgot. And I watched the speech footage. And I was like, oh, "This is cool. This is really good."
yeah,
And I
yeah.
watched it when I watched it again this time. I was like, "Oh, it's from this film, of course.
Yes, yeah,
That's
yeah.
where it came from."
Yeah, yeah. I'd say that, and I quote, "Well, I'm not on the card, Terry," all the time because I wasn't invited. I love the way, I don't quote this, but I love the way he goes. And I told you in April that I wanted to referee some matches. I just
The clenched teeth.
yeah, it's great. I mean, it's clear. It's also the beautiful, not to keep going on the
Yeah,
Dennis Stat moment, but it's beautiful because you see, like, oh, these two have like an intense history together.
hmm.
Like, even though like Dennis Stamp did not reach the fame of the Funks, but it's like you see these two like really like spent their lives together, right?
Yeah,
Like, you understand, like, Terry begging him to be there is real. Like,
yeah.
he's, no, I really want you to be there. It's my last match. It's my last match. Yeah.
No, I love that. And also,
Yeah.
it was crazy that the fact that Terry, like, they talk when he's in the doctor's office, and then they're like,
Yeah.
"Oh yeah, you shouldn't be able to walk or you should be in excruciating pain all the time now and not be able to do anything you're doing." And he
Totally.
carried on wrestling for another like 15 years or something like
I know. It's
that.
crazy how much longer he went. Yeah. He ever
That
get
is
a knee
amazing.
replacement? I wonder.
I don't, yeah, I can't even know if he got
I
a
don't know if he
replacement.
did. I don't. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't. I mean, like, not in a disrespectful way. From like how he was moving in later matches, I don't know if he did get any replacement.
I know. I know. Yeah. He was.
Like, it
Yeah.
was still really hobbling around. Like,
Yeah.
from what I saw.
Yeah.
And the one that is iconic, and I remembered this from the very first viewing when I was super young. And what makes me laugh even more now is how this person would react to this being their iconic line. nipples from Noel Foley.
Yeah,
And I was like, that.
yeah. I
I was
forgot
like,
about
now
that
that you've
scene.
become a figure yourself, people will
Yeah,
remind
yeah,
you of that
yeah,
constantly.
yeah. That is great. That is very funny.
But Mick's like, oh, every kid has to have a signature line, right?
Yeah, yeah, their favorite word. Yeah,
And the final quote was, and this was kind of like it was just the best ending to the film. I think that Barry did was, they're just like you. He's talking about the wrestlers here. Go and finish the closing narration. He's like, they're just like you and me, except they're very different.
yeah, yeah.
And I was
That's beautiful.
like what a
That's great. Great summation. Yeah, to
yeah.
everything.
And it's
Yeah.
like yeah, it's just like perfect like closing the chapter on the story.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, and it's that kind of line that you're reminded the impact this film had on, wrestling cinema, wrestling everything. It's like, yeah, that's kind of you yeah, yeah, that's the whole thematic journey. You just nailed it right there.
Yeah,
And I mean, yeah, thinking of the wrestler, of course. And it's like, yeah, that's what the wrestler is. It's like this is a very the wrestler. The movie The Wrestler is about a very relatable person with troubles in life, and he has this whole other side of his existence that like people don't understand.
yeah,
Like that you can never understand why you would do that to yourself. And it's like, I mean, that question is asked a million times, right? Why would you do this? It was Spike Dudley. It's like, why do you
mm,
do this? It's like, and a lot of the time, everyone just says it's fun. Even Terry says it's just
yeah,
fun. It's just like so fun. I don't know how else to say it.
yeah. And
Yeah,
it's crazy that like they like in a lovely way like Barry's getting across his writing skills as well.
yeah, yeah,
Like he's really like thrown everything in this in this wonderful way.
yeah,
But again, one of the things that stuck out to me, like, and this was my last question, Andy, the legacy of the film is for those. It's one of those things that, for me, it feels like for those who know and those who have seen it and those who understand it, it's it's on a pedestal. It rightfully
yeah,
so. It is like
yeah,
it's the benchmark. It's laying the foundation for everything that we have
yeah.
now. Like it was 20 years ahead of its time, kind of thing. Like
Sure. Yeah,
right
yeah.
now, it's like this is all normal. We get this, but 15 years ago, the
Mhm.
frequency of wrestling documentaries, feature films. There's a TV show with Nick. Is it Ottoman? Ottoman? The one who was in Parks and Recreation.
Oh,
Nick.
oh, 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 Margot's got money troubles.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Wrestling
yeah, yeah.
related TV show now that
Mhm.
like another one that's come out and it's like a cycle now, which is amazing. I love it. Um,
Mhm.
but we weren't seeing this when Beyond the Mat was coming out. Like that
No.
was it was completely like a new territory to this
Yeah.
level, and I still feel like this is a film that is not people don't quite understand the significance of the impact this film had. People understand Hogan Andre and CM Punk's pipe bomb and those significant moments. This is in that
Yeah. Oh,
it's
yeah.
without this there's so much that doesn't happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Totally.
do you feel that? Like do you share that sentiment? Like that it's like
Massively. I think, as I was saying kind of at the very beginning, where it's like this film shattered kayfabe for the better.
hmm,
In my opinion, people could come after me for saying that. But I think it showed such a human side to all of these people that I think just grew wrestling fandom and made it more intense because you now have like a human connection to these people. That's what it's always been about, right?
yeah.
It's always been about trying to find some human, like that's what stories are, right? That's what storytelling is, and that's what is human condition. That's what watching two people fight to try to get, you're watching two humans settle whatever issue they have, or you're watching, even the phenomenal characters are like, the supernatural characters are appeasing to humanity, appeasing to your fear and appeasing to your, uh base primal um instincts and whatnot. And I think this, like, if you just see these people as humans, you're going to have a better time watching them fight, right? You're going to be more emotionally engaged with these people.
Yeah, it was actually you used that word primal. I was reading. I was finished. I'm nearly finished it. Where Blake Snyder's book on screenwriting, Save the Cat. I don't know if you've ever
Oh,
read
of
it.
course. Oh, yeah, yes, yes.
And in
On the
that line,
shelf.
he says there's a reason wrestling is one of the longest running TV shows ever because
Mhm.
it's a primal like emotion and it's good versus bad and it's like a fight to the death kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah.
And then
It just
there's that basic concept, and obviously when you add the human element to these kind of stories,
mhm.
adds a whole new layer to why we're fascinated, and it kind of still runs to this
Totally.
day.
And it's even the like they, you see them struggle with that in storylines sometimes in different eras of wrestling. Like you see them like, oh, how much do we make? How do we make huge example is like making, when it is weird though, because how do you pick when you're like, oh, we're gonna break kayfabe here and give more of a real story about this person, or we're gonna like, because you think about times where that really didn't work, and
Mhm.
like you think about like, or maybe it worked to some people, but it's like, you know, once when you tried to make the Undertaker more of a human, it's like, what is that? That's an odd decision, right?
Yeah,
Like the guy is, I mean, now he does done a million interviews and a million like things as Mark, as his kid. But the first time they tried it, it definitely felt weird. You're like, this is supposed
yeah,
to be a supernatural character. I don't know why why he's a biker now.
yeah.
Anyways. But like that, yeah. It's odd, like because I'm kind of going against what I'm saying because like that for that character, it's like, no, keep him supernatural. That's what
Mm.
everyone wants. Everyone wants that. They want that mysticism. But it's always talked about in a way that's like, yeah, but he's the one who's allowed to be that,
Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
just like for some reason, it's like that's the one that like we want that with that
There's the
character. And
exception to every rule, right?
yes, yeah, it's true. Yeah. Yeah, it's like everybody else, it's like I don't need to think DDP is gonna kidnap the Undertaker's wife. But anyway.
I didn't think that's how we were going to close this interview, but that's.
Yes. Yeah, I know it has nothing to do with, but this led right. I mean, this was like, it's wild that, but I guess that's because WCW turned him down. But there's like no real discussion about the Monday Night Wars at all in this film, right?
Yeah, yeah. It's almost like I would guess, yeah, like you said, because WCW turned him down, but it's almost like you wouldn't think you would know WCW existed.
Because this was the thick of it. Like
Yeah,
this
yeah,
was,
97, 98, you know, yeah.
yeah. This was, you know, yeah. You got like everybody, Hogan, Savage are all there. WCW, yeah. This is like
Because
big.
he mentions, like, I think he alludes to, like, the top promotion. So he says
Yeah.
promotions, but he doesn't actually ever say, I don't think he actually says WCW.
No, he doesn't. But which I know I must have said this before. I mean, I love the Attitude Era, but I was a huge WCW mark. Like
Mm.
that was my like I would watch Nitro over Raw most
Okay,
nights,
okay.
most Mondays. Like I was I don't know. I don't know why. Maybe it's just um I always had this feeling like I had to be even as a kid, like I always had to do the kind of opposite thing.
I
I
understand
always
that.
did. I was always like people, I grew up in a hockey town,
Yeah.
big hockey town in Canada, and I'm not a hockey fan. And it was like weird to like not be a hockey fan in that town. And I wasn't like, do you remember do you remember Slam Ball?
I mean, I've heard of it vaguely, but I'm
Yeah.
not too familiar.
It was on Spike TV. There was a sport. It was a basketball with trampolines. And I was like, I'm gonna be a slam ball fan. Like, I'm not gonna like other sports. I'm gonna be into slam ball. And I tried for like a month, and it didn't. I think slam ball got canceled after like three
I don't
weeks.
know. You didn't win in that one.
No, I did not win. I did not win. But I mean, but it was the same with like. I mean, I still watch WWF.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I still loved watching it. But I was, yeah, I was like, a, I was trying. I was like a WCW fan. That's what I was
Mm.
into, And like when Benoit and Guerrero were there, and like when um, I was actually a huge DDP fan. Even I really
Oh, I
loved
love
DDP.
DDP, yeah.
Yeah, it was, and he was like such a good guy, right, in the
Mm.
WCW. Before he kidnapped
Yeah.
Undertaker's wife. He was like so good, and I was like, oh, I like this guy. I always liked that character so much, and
He does get the
Sting,
love he
obviously.
deserves for his wrestling. Like,
Pardon?
particularly, he doesn't get the love he deserves for his wrestling and his run in
No.
WCW.
I
I
mean
agree.
now, yeah, it's more his like now he's like known as this like kind of legend saver, right? This
Yeah,
like
yeah,
ability,
yeah.
which is awesome. But like, yeah, I really thought in that era, like I loved the character. I loved
Mm.
Diamond Dallas Page. Thought he was so sick.
His
And
matches with Macho Man are like some of my favorite
oh,
memories
they're
as a
so
kid.
good. So good. Yeah, yeah.
Love that.
And I think also the Monday Night Nitro game was so good.
Oh yeah,
The
yeah.
video game, like that was a big part of it for me. It was like I loved the WWF games too. I loved but WCW Nitro and WCW Thunder, the two
Hmm.
games were like they had Nitro for PlayStation and then my friend had Thunder on his N64
Oh
and
yeah.
that was it was like some of the best wrestling video games I ever played. I
There was
was like,
another one that came out. I think it was called Stampedes. Like,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah,
that I remember that one. I think we had it on
yeah,
PlayStation One. Like that was that
yeah.
one and Warzone WWF. Like this was
Yeah, Warzone was
traveling
good.
back. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Warzone was good. I also loved later on, like when I was in college, it was WCW 2011 SmackDown versus Raw was like a
yeah, yeah.
huge video. Like we would have tournaments at our college like
Oh yeah,
house.
yeah.
Then yeah, yeah, TLC match, like big TLC matches. Yeah, it was
Yeah,
great.
no, it's no, I love how even like looking back at like Beyond the Mat and stuff transports you back to this like
Oh yeah,
childhood and the nostalgia of it all as well. It's like it's
huge,
such a beautiful thing.
huge. Very
Yeah.
successful, very successful in the stuff. As you said already, like such a insanely successful time capsule
Hmm.
of the wrestling era of that time. It's like it just those behind the scenes, like at the stadium behind the scenes WWF shots are like pretty unbelievable. Like who's
Yeah.
just walking around the background? It's
And we're
crazy.
like, and it's never gonna happen again.
No, no,
Like, because you got like Unreal and stuff now, but it's like
yeah,
it's not like there's
no,
moments where
no.
it's controlled, shall we say?
Yeah, yeah. I
Because
love
I
the feeling of like there's a moment when Mike Modest and oh Jay, who's the other guy? Mike Modest and I can't
oh I
remember.
know who you mean, but I can't remember his name now. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah. When they do their tryout, also an amazing scene is all like Cornette, Ross,
Vince
um,
is even watching it at one point, isn't he?
Vince,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
all watching them like that. That is like that's pretty mad. That we'll never get that and that's a real un. No one's performing there. Like
Hmm.
that's a real like unfiltered them just watching that tape.
And I think also like one thing that was crossing my mind was the fact that it was so new. This style of filmmaking, this thing didn't exist. It wasn't. It was no one knew what it was like in a
Yeah,
lot of ways. So they didn't know how to react or how to perform.
yeah. No,
So
no,
it
no.
was
Yeah, yeah,
the masks were off. Whereas
yeah,
now people are aware, so they are trying to
yeah,
strategically
yeah.
navigate how to control this.
Totally. There's a moment where they're just like Barry's clearly interviewing the oh man, Mike, sorry, the APW promoter, the guy who runs the
Yeah,
school.
yeah, yeah. I can't remember his
Yeah.
name. Yeah,
When he's
yeah,
interviewing him backstage at WWF and The Rock is just behind him talking to
yeah,
somebody. And you could see though those like whoever hit The Rock is talking to himself are like kind of looking at this camera because back then it's like not unless it was a WWE camera,
yeah,
it like wasn't common to have someone be film. Now everyone has phones filming shit, but like
yeah,
it wasn't. It was weird for them probably to be like, "What is this camera doing here?" And because back then there's still this rule, even though it was Attitude Era, there was still a rule probably to hold on to some kayfabe, right?
yeah.
All those guys there, and yeah, yeah, I just love that type of stuff. It's so great. And yeah, them watching those two guys when they like pop, when Cornette and Ross pop for whatever
Oh
move
yeah,
he,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. And they're just like, whoa, that's so and then the dude behind them is like, I'm
I'm
stealing it. I'm
yeah.
stealing it. Yeah, yeah. But I also love and there's that great moment where they botch something too, right? And
Yes.
Vincent
And
and
Vince is
Vince
like, oh, we've got to work
Ross,
on that.
yeah. He's like, I think we need a little bit of work there. It's great. It's
But that's what
amazing.
I mean. Yeah, like I said, it will never. It's the benchmark and
Yeah,
almost like an unfair benchmark now because, like, in a lot of ways, probably can't be topped.
never get it.
Yeah,
We'll never get it unless it's with like unless it's someone filming with a like true grassroots promotion that one day becomes massive. You know what I mean? Like say something is happening now that we don't even know about, some
yeah,
indie promotion, and it in 20 years it's like the biggest one ever.
yeah,
Uh
yeah, yeah.
that's a chance. There could be someone filming that right now that could be cool.
I think the closest thing you could get is like maybe like an AEW, like, but I don't even know if
Yeah.
they would allow such a thing now.
Maybe GCW would let if
Yeah,
that
yeah.
You
Because I
know,
remember the
so
last time we spoke, I think I said, would you, if you could do a documentary about like a single superstar and like kind of like fly on the wall style, you did say Nick Cage.
yeah. I still think that would be really fascinating.
He's a
Yeah.
fascinating guy.
Yeah, I do. Really, I really like Nick too. The little
Yeah.
bit of, I don't even know if you remember being hanging out with me at that time, but when we shot with him, it was yeah, I really liked him. Thought he was a really good dude.
Hopefully one day that will still happen, man. And again, thank you again, man. It's all, as I was saying, always a pleasure. I
Oh,
love chatting
yeah,
this. Love going back, the deep diving and getting your
yeah,
perspective on this. It's always good. It's always fun, and I'm
yeah,
sure we'll
man.
do it. I'm sure I'll find a way to like rope you back in again, Andy.
Let's do it again. Yeah, let's do it again for sure.
Thank you, man.